Welcome everyone to a little special Civilization V video, probably going to turn into a series. I'm going to kind of go over some of the very just general basics of the game for all of you that have started picking up the game and playing it or have shown interest in the game. I kind of want to show you how to get into the game because it takes a long time to get into this game sometimes if you have no one to show you or you don't really feel like or understand some of the text that's out there. So right off the bat, you can go to single player. There is a multiplayer. It was terribly unworkable at when it first came out, but it's okay now. You can immediately go play a current game. This will pretty much take your last settings, map size, difficulty level, and game pace, and start you a new game with the random hero. I really don't normally like that, but you know, to each their own. There are scenarios. I have a few extra because of DLC. These will have special modified rules similar to what I did with Buzdevan with Feed the Beast. He pretty much made his own scenario in some ways. Like he created a game and he edited it and made special rules for us to follow. There are tutorials. Some of these are they're okay, but they don't really help you out when you really could use it. Nonetheless, start the game. You have some very basic options that you can flip through, different map types and stuff like that. If you go to advanced setup, this will look intimidating at first if it's your first time, but here's just the different AIs. Depending on the map size, you'll have more or less civilizations. You can always get rid of them by deleting them or adding them. The amount of city-states are like the little, it's kind of like a civilization that only has one city and doesn't really count in the overall game. Like you don't have to take them over to win like a domination victory, but you can pay them money or bribe them or do quests for them when they ask and get reputation with them, and they'll give you things. So it's a kind of a later strategy to use. Nonetheless, let's just go with a regular small map. It's one of my preferred map sizes. Game pace, you can go really slow up to really quick. Pretty much what the game pace does is how fast you produce and research things. I used to always go quick, but the standard is the default, so that's what I've been going with lately. Difficulty, anything from settler, which is the very beginning, to deity, which is the extreme difficulty that it has. Prince is the normal, and anything easier than prince, you'll actually get bonuses to production and happiness and things like that. Whereas anything above Prince, King, Emperor, Immortal, Deity, the AI gets those bonuses. So they're literally cheating to make it harder. I play around Emperor and Immortal, but once you hit Immortal to Deity, Deity jumps everything up big time. So that's something that really, as it says, really the best of the best play. Or people that know how to exploit the system. Gentlemen like Mad Jin plays Deity and he rocks it. He's a really good player. So if you ever want to see some high level play, look at that. Map type, here, see how I have a lot more. Some are DLC content, which is usually pretty cheap. They go on sale pretty often. But you'll get more choices in here than you would at just the regular setup game. So by going to advanced setup, I can choose new ones. So how about we choose... Continents is a nice beginning one, and see, certain maps will have more options than others. So we can do Earth. So you can change how much resources there are, how high the sea is. So if you want more land, you go to low, etc. It's beside the point. Victory types, the different types. Time is after so many turns, whoever has the highest score. Science, whoever builds all the spaceship parts and launches into space first. Domination, you have to take all of the other players' capitals, or they have to not be in control. So an AI can take somebody else's capital, and then you take everybody else's, and you'd win too. Cultural, you have to get, there's social policies in this game. It's like level up trees, pretty much, that you get every so many culture points a turn. And if you get 5 trees completely filled up, you win. And diplomatic, you create the United Nations and get enough people to vote for you to win, and then you win. Down here, some advanced games options. If you want it, they all have little descriptions here. really, there's nothing that I use except for quick combat. This prevents showing animations of combat, so it just shows, all right, they lost this much health and this is how many left. It really speeds up the game, especially later on when you have many units fighting at once. The nice thing is, especially when you first start out, maybe you want to see the animations. Seeing the archers shoot arrows into the air and stuff like that is pretty cool, actually. You can always add more AI players if you want, or delete them. You can choose what teams. You can put same people, AIs, or combine it with you or people on the same team. And what that does is when you're researching things, your and the other person's research go together. So if you research the same one, you're going to get it double. It's going to be as fast as if you were doing it at double speed. Otherwise, you can also research separate things, and it'll just be like others, but you'll get the same research that they do when they research it. Other than that, you're pretty much, you can attack each other, and you can see what they see. Other than that, you're pretty much completely separate. So you can still trade each other resources and things, give money and stuff. So nonetheless, we'll just start out on an Earth small map. I'm going to leave it at Emperor just because it's pretty comfortable difficulty for me. But literally, you really should start out kind of low so you can figure out what's going on without the AI bum rushing you with some stupid crap. Anyways, so we'll start the game. I always do a random leader just because, I don't know, it adds some randomness to the game. So anyways, our narrator is going to try and talk over me, which doesn't happen very often because I like to yell! And it talks about Ramses, kind of some of the background of the leader. It'll show you what the... Okay, you little fucker. Shut up. Alright, so if I hit F1, it opens up the Civilopedia. It's the Civilization Wikipedia, pretty much, except stuff's actually correct. So if I go over here, I will go through the different things if you'd like in another episode. But pretty much this is just this big dictionary for you to look at. And since we are playing Ramses, which is Egypt, instead of looking at that page where he was yapping, I can just go here. So if I click him, I'm going to get 20% extra production towards when I build wonders. So that's their passive. And then I'm going to get a war chariot. And this will replace chariot archers and... let's see, what is this one? Yeah, it doesn't require a strategic, the strategic tile horses to be worked, which chariot archers usually do. So they're a little cheaper and faster to make than the normal one. And then also we have a burial tomb. It doesn't require gold per turn once you've made it. And also it has a negative. If someone takes your city that has this, they get extra gold. So, you know, is what it is. So anyways... This is how you're going to start pretty much every game. You're going to start out with a settler and a warrior, or possibly, I think some people start out with a scout, or used to back in the day. And you got to decide, down here's your movement. So you have 2 movement. With most units will have about 2 movement. The issue here is jungles, hills, over rivers, anything that's a quote-unquote rough terrain that's not, you know, open terrain will probably take 2 movement points. So I'm only going to be able to move 1. So as I hold right-click and move around, you'll see I can only move that far. The yellow and the gray means how many turns it'll take to get there. So if you build on top of a hill, you'll be able to build an extra building. And if you build next to a river, you'll be able to build extra buildings. And if you build next to a big body of water like this, which may be a lake but maybe an ocean, you'll be able to build seafaring and ocean-faring units. So we'll go over here and we'll found our city. If you want to see, you can also move them manually this way. You can also have them press spacebar or hit this, and they won't do anything for a turn. And next turn they'll prompt you to do something with them. So like if you're like, okay, I don't want to move them yet, you can do that. You can hit sleep or F, and if it's a combat unit, they'll fortify and get extra bonuses. Where is it? Fortify, and then so they'll get extra bonuses because they're on a hill. And then if they're a civilian unit, they'll just go to sleep, and they won't bother you again until you actually click them. You can also delete a unit too, and so that way they're not costing you gold per turn. And if they're in your cultural boundaries, you actually get gold for them back. But it's not worth it unless you just don't need the unit. So anyways, we're going to found our city. It's how you start out every game. And what I recommend doing is taking your warrior or your scout or whatever unit you have and slowly looking around. So now we found some ruins here, and if we move a unit onto that, we'll find either gold, extra culture, a unit, or we might upgrade our warriors to spearmen. So it's just like free items. Nonetheless, you always got to start out with research. You can either click this button, or what I like to do is hit F6, and it'll open up the entire skill tree from the last tech, which is future tech, all the way to the beginning, which you start with agriculture and then can go through this. Depending on what you start with, you want to base it differently. Stop doing that. Okay, there, stop doing that. Alright, so anyways, you can go and highlight over a research, and it'll show you what it's called, and then what it can build. So like if I research pottery, I'll be able to build granaries, and then granaries provide me food, which helps my city grow larger. Animal husbandry, if I want to get horses, I gotta reveal them first. So I get animal husbandry, and then there's a possibility of horses popping up on the map. And if they are, I can build a pasture for them, etc., etc. Usually, this bottom area is a lot of early war and production. A lot of up here is seafaring right here, this top one, and then you have culture and banking, which is like money and research right through here. Eventually, though, to get to some of the later game stuff like replaceable parts, which has infantry and mech infantry, which are some of the best infantry units in the game, you will need to go through here a little bit and then go through here. So eventually you pretty much need to get every tech until about here. The best melee units are here, air units are here, science victory here, and then the cultural victory up here. But that's all stuff you don't need to worry about. Seriously, you'll probably need to play a few games or have someone walk you through to kind of figure out and familiarize yourself with the technologies. Even then, I still have fuzzy areas where I'm not big on. Nonetheless, spices are a luxury resource, and you can highlight over the little icon right there. You can turn that on by doing this. So you click this little scroll down here. Always have resource icons on, personally. That's what I think. Yield icons you can turn on, and it'll show the different, what each tile, so I'll turn on G2 grid, and it'll show you each little grid. They're hex grids now instead of squares like the other civilizations. So anyways, if you work a tile, this is what you get, these little yields. So the apples are growth, so if you work that, the faster your city will grow. Gold will give you gold per turn, and then hammers are production, the amount of production points that go into building a unit. Each unit costs a certain amount of production, so I say on the warrior, if you look to the bottom right of my cursor, it says cost 40. So I need 40 hammers of time, so it's however long it takes me to build 40 hammers is how long it's going to take me to build warriors. So since I have 5 hammers, then it's going to take me 8 turns. So it does all the math there for you. Nonetheless, since we do have jungles, we'll need to cut those down, and we'll also need technology to do that. So let's actually start out with mining, just because I personally like production. I can build a mine on these hills, and then also eventually by hitting F6 I can get to bronze working, which will remove jungles, so I can actually improve these tiles. You need to improve your tiles. 2 hammers and a gold's not bad, but you can get more, and you might as well get more. Nonetheless, the first thing to start out building, I always build, is a scout. By building a scout, I'll be able to check out my area first and fast, and then I'll be able to get these ruins before the PC AI gets to them. Because if the AI gets to them, you can't get to them. So the first few turns are a lot of just moving around. So this ruins gave us 70 gold. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's always nice to help. I'm just looking around. We found our first city-state. This is one of the civilizations that only have one city. And then if you're the first one in single player to meet them, you get 30 gold. If you're the second, you get 15 gold bonus. And after that, you don't get anything. So that's a big thing about going out and exploring as fast as you can to get these gold bonuses. Nonetheless, they show you the trait. If you highlight over them, it tells you what they do. Maritime will give you food in your capital when you're friends with them. And if you're ally with them, you get a little bit of food for every city. It shows you their different personalities. The problem with Irrational is they make these random requests that don't make any sense, and they're not allied with anybody yet. As they expand, they will expand a little bit. They'll acquire resources, and they can give them to you. Like, they'll probably pick up this gold if I don't take it, and they can give it to you if I ally with them. So anyways, just keep it next turn. You can also hit enter to skip your turn as well to proceed. So I'm just looking around. All these rivers are nice because it'll add extra growth later on. Plus, moving over, see how I can move 2 this way and only 1 over the river? Over the river cuts your movement down big time. So by putting like a city here, it'd be hard to get to it because they'd have to go through these rivers. And also the hills, which cost extra movement points. Nonetheless, we have our first scout unit. This scout unit ignores terrain costs. So I can just whoop right over it. And then also I'll get notifications here. If I want to get rid of the notifications, you can left click to go zoom on it or right click to get rid of it. So I'm going to keep looking around. Some more ruins. So I'm going to go pick up these ruins because, shoot, free items, free gold, free everything. The next thing I usually like to do, if you want to expand really quickly, I'll go a monument because it's going to give me 2 culture per turn. But if you see on the maintenance under the tooltip, it's going to, once it's built, every turn it's going to take 1 gold from my gold treasury to keep it going. So in the top left, I have +5 a turn with 129 gold total. So it'll go down to +4 because it's taking 1 away every turn. By going up here, you can see how much all the different... The tooltips are really nice in this game. It should show you a lot. It's just you have to be patient and play a few times to understand it all. Here's my happiness. It does a breakdown. So I have 9 total happiness, but I have 4 unhappiness. So it comes out to a +5. I'm getting unhappiness because of the number of cities I have and then the number of population. So as the city grows larger and larger, you're going to create more and more unhappiness. So you need to build buildings that will create happiness for you. Nonetheless, for every turn that you have happiness, the amount of happiness you have, so 5 per turn, is going to go towards this number here. So once I hit 500, I'm going to get a golden age. And as it says in the tooltip, every tile your empire for every tile in your empire that has at least 1 gold coin produced, you're going to create another one. So I'm going to get 2 gold coins per turn if I'm working this tile. And then also I get a 20% production bonus, which is huge. And then here's my social policies. The monument, see, has +2 culture. I will get +3 total, so +1 from just having a city and +2. Once it hits that, I can left click it. I'll get a point and I can spend in one of these trees I was talking about. So anyways, we're going to create another thing. Because of these jungles are going to take me a while to be able to clear these out, I'm going to start with a monument instead of a worker. Normally I would start with a worker, but by 14 turns I wouldn't be able to build a whole lot. So either way is fine. Worker's probably the best idea, but so we found our first civilization. Now you can highlight this right here and it shows you how they feel towards you. And then since there hasn't been any major incidents, we don't have a relationship yet. You can declare war on them, which I don't recommend unless you're really prepared for it. You could always trade. So they have 35 gold and 4 per turn, so we're doing better than them. And then you can see what resources they have to trade. Also, you could demand stuff. I wouldn't do that because that can really piss them off. And then also you can see if you can declare war with them. You can denounce people. It angers the leader who you denounce, but you can gain trust and friendship with whoever's their enemy. So like let's say Solomon was against Korea. I could denounce Korea and Solomon would probably like me more. You can also make a joint declaration of friendship. And pretty much what this does is it can deter people that are going to attack you or the friendship person. And also it creates more friendly relations with whoever you do it with. So you can get better trades in the future, and hopefully they won't attack you because they're your friend. The problem is if you do the declaration of friendship and then let's say they demand something from you, they're asking like, hey, I just want free gold, give it to me. If you say no, it can piss them off. So be careful who you make the declarations of friendship with. Also, you can yell at them and tell them not to settle near you, which usually pisses them off. Nonetheless, when you first find somebody, don't worry about anything. You really don't usually have anything to do with them. So we're just going to every turn... Oops, see, he was going to grab those runes, but no. Okay, so we got a crudely drawn map, so it kind of just shows some of our surroundings. There's a barbarian encampment. We can't see it because he's in the fog of war. Hey, but those barbarian encampments will spawn enemy... So pretty much like these warriors I have here, they'll spawn these new sideless warriors that'll attack anything near them. So they're just on their own side and they'll attack all AIs. So they're really a pain in the ass early on. can see they're there. And because we found, if you can find a ruins with the scout, you'll get a lot of times better things, supposedly. I don't know if that's still true, but that was always the idea. So I got a free technology in mining, which kind of sucks because that's what I was already researching. So didn't get anything special out of that. I will go pottery next. So we'll keep looking around. You can also queue up where they want to go. So, okay, here's a good one. So as I highlight this guy, it'll say what happens if I attack him. So in the bottom left, which is over here, when I have it highlighted, it shows how much approximate damage is going to be inflicted. On the left side, I'm going to hit him for about 5 out of 10. They're going to hit me roughly for about 6 out of 10. It shows us what our strength is and why that's our damage, and then below that a breakdown of the strength. So because they're on a desert, they have negative 10%, but since they're fortified, they've hit the F key and waited a turn, they're getting 50% onto their strength. So they're getting a plus 40, which makes it hard to fight them. Everybody gets a plus 20% flat bonus to fighting barbarians though, but still they have better strength. So if I went and fought them, see it says I should do 5 and they should do 6. See how it was a little off? There is a random dice roll involved. And the higher the difficulty, the worse it seems to go for the player. Okay, so I can't go through water yet. Later on I can get technology, but let's say we queue up some turns. So I right click far away, and as I end the turn, he'll automatically go there. Now see, once again, it's going to say I'm going to have a major defeat, so what I want to do is probably heal up. By healing up, I also get 45 bonuses, I believe. So I heal 1 hit point per turn. If I'm in my own cultural boundary, I'll get 2. So we're just going to do next turn and see them move right where I told them to keep moving. So anyways, that's a general. Barbarians will continue to produce units, so you got to be careful with that. So if I click there, I can go into my city. I can rename my city. There we go. So for all you guys. And then if you click this, Citizens Management, it opens this up. Now you see there's these little circles right here. The green ones are being worked. Since I have 2 population right here, 2 citizens, I can work 2 of these tiles. So I'm gaining the bonuses of this, the two food here and the 2 gold, and the 2 food here and the 1 gold. And you can see that by these numbers right here. So if I don't want that one being worked and want this one being worked, you can see how, well, I guess it's the same tile there. So now I have a little more production, but I'm not growing as fast. And you can see this right here. So if I allow it to do what it normally was, I get 2 food per turn. So in 9 turns, I'll get another citizen. So you can see right here. And then in 4 turns, because of the +1 culture turn, I'll be able to get a new tile for my border. It'll automatically take a tile for its own. And since it's highlighted in pink right here, this is the one it's going to choose, unless you choose. I know this is a lot of information. I'm going to go over just a little bit more, and then I'll leave it for another another video, and we can see what's going on there. We can also buy a tile, and I can purchase one of these tiles early. So I can spend 50 gold and pick up the cotton early. So there's my culture. And now since I've chosen that, it'll actually try and pick something else up instead when it automatically. So once again, we're still just in our city menu. You can also go here, hit purchase, and you can buy a building or a unit just right off. Just spend gold to get it. Now if I have, unlike Civilization 4, you can only have 1 unit on a tile. You can't stack multiple units on a tile. The one exception to this is you can have a combat unit like a warrior or scout on the same tile as a worker or settler or a great person, which are called civilian units. These don't actually fight anything, and if a military unit touches them, they automatically capture them. So you got to be careful. You got to protect these guys. But so I could have a worker and a warrior on the same tile and not have problems. The problem also with buying, though, is if I have a military unit in here and I try and buy a military unit, it'll gray it out. It won't let me because you need to move them outside of the city first, and then you can purchase. Nonetheless, you're seeing right here, this is the building I'm trying to produce right now, or the whatever I'm trying to produce in this city, and it shows you how many turns it's going to take, and this is how much production it's getting per turn. The cost, how much maintenance it's going to cost per turn to have it up, and then also the benefits and a short description of what it is. So as you can see here, there too, it's just a small picture. You can highlight it to show you what it is, and it's going to take 2 turns. As soon as this bar fills up at 2 turns, I'll have the unit. Here's my number of population at 2, and here's how many turns it's going to take for this bar to fill up and give me another population, another citizen at 3. And then also my city's combat strength. So it's a general guideline, approximate number of the strength of the defenses of the city. So when if someone comes nearby, barbarians in an enemy city, I can click. There'll be a little target button that flashes. You can click and fire at 1 unit a turn, as long as they're in range. And it'll be like having a unit of 10 strength, so almost roughly twice the damage of this warrior. This will also grow depending on the buildings and the size of the population too. So you can actually don't ever attack a city with high defense or combat strength if you're not prepared for it, because they can just blow you up. Nonetheless, says you see we're healing a little bit faster because they were dicking around and moving around, but since this other unit is here, they'll get near me and they'll get bonuses because they're flanking and moving together. So I'm just gonna move away. As you can see, this is a beginning of another civilization. We've already met them, one of their units, so we know the coloring blue and red as Sejong, which is Korea. And then since we met Solomon around here too, he's probably going to be around here pretty nearby as well. And then this is just an approximation of your score. One thing I will go over real quick is the different function keys. F1 being our Civilopedia, so any type of information that you could possibly want. You can also do, if you want to look up a, let's see that. Look up a, okay, Wonders Pyramid. Okay, well I'm obviously not doing it very well, but the search usually should work. Maybe I need to do it. Yeah, okay. Find game. It's not a very smart search, I guess. But you can look up different buildings, you can look up different civilizations, the different city-states, and it'll give, like, for city-states it just gives historical info, but different resources, you could figure out what's good. These bonuses, all they do is they just give a little extra yield for either production or food, so they're not as important. Strategic, these allow you to, they will give you extra production, but they'll allow you to build certain units. These are the different terrains that these, like aluminum, can be found on, and they're improved by this. And then here's the luxury resources. All of these, most of the time, I think all of them do, will give you extra money. But what their biggest thing is, the first time you get one of these, so like let's say I got sugar, I built a plantation on it, and then work it, I have a citizen working it, I'll be able to get a... Actually, once you just improve it, you'll get happiness. +4 happiness for every... depending on the difficulty, the happiness will change a little bit, I believe. But you'll get... actually, I'm not sure if that's right. I apologize. I haven't played at some of the easier difficulties. But the first time you acquire a new luxury, whether it's spices, cotton, or sugar, you'll get +4 happiness added to your total. If you get multiple versions, like 2 sugars... you'll still just get the +4. But what you can do with that sugar is you could trade it away to other people or friends for either money or other resources, etc. Nonetheless, if you hit F2, it kind of gives you a good economic overview. Once again, it's a lot of stuff going on, but when you really want to get the nitty-gritty down, you can really use this to min and max stuff. So here's my city. It'll show all the different cities, what their production values are, your gold per turn, and the breakdown of what your gross and net and expenses are. If you hit F3, it gives you a military overview. It'll show you all your different military units. It'll show what they're doing, how much movement they have left, their strength, etc. And then also the different unit supplies. So we hit F4, which is one of the ones I really like the most. It'll show all the civilizations we met, how much gold they have, how much gold per turn, and any luxury and strategic resources here, along with like anything you can trade for, so research agreements, open borders. If you click the tab here, deal history, it'll show you the different deals that the civilizations and yourself and others have been making, at what turn and what they traded for. At global politics, it'll show their social policies, the name and the nation and their leader, and then or the era, and then also if they are at war with people, if they've denounced people, so you can kind of keep a tab on relationships between people. Okay, F5 will show your social policies. It'll normally look like this when you first start, but if you hit advanced view, it'll show the entire tree for you, and you can go over. So if we took if we had a point and we wanted to go through tradition, it would show you kind of what it does in the first paragraph. The second paragraph is what you get for the first point, and then that third paragraph is what you get if you get all of these together. You know, if you purchase all of these. So some of these are really good, some of these are not so great. It just depends on how you want to play the game. F6 once again is technology. Yellows means you've researched it. The green highlight means they're available to research. Blue means you're currently researching it, and gray means you haven't researched the right things to be able to research it. So this is one of the hardest things in the game to figure out, because this is all brand new information and stuff, and you're not really sure what's going on yet until you actually do it. F7 will bring up the notification log, so every turn you'll get all those notifications on the side, and this is just like a history, a browser history if you're using a internet browser like Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, etc. F8 will show you your victory progress along with others. So there's 490 turns left, approximately 489 to be exact, before the game ends. You can see the different ranks and points of the people if you hit details. And this is the breakdown of our score. So because we have a city, we get 9 points from it. Population, 9 points, up to 34. So it's nothing special. Domination, this shows you all the different civilizations and if they still own their capital. If everybody doesn't have their capital and you do, you win. Science, it shows you if you've built, if this will fill up once you have enough tech research that you can actually get the Apollo program, and then these are the different parts that you need to actually get it. You can click here to see how everybody else's progress is on it. Diplomatic, once again, if we complete the United Nations, and then you need enough votes depending on the amount of people in the game. So I need 9 votes of the 18 possible votes between city-states and civilizations, and I'll have 1 at the moment. Once again, details will give you a breakdown. You can get more from city-states if you bribe an ally with them. Cultural, once again, if you get the proper amount of social policies completed, you can you need 5. You can then build the Utopian project. Once that's completed, you win. Okay, which one are we on? So F9 will bring up demographics, how you rank compared to the other civilizations. So your rank, what that value is, who has the best, the average, and then the worst. So we're at 6,000, which we're more or less tied for the last at the moment. We're about in the middle, give or take, because I think some people are worse, but whatever. F10 will bring up strategic view, and this is if the 3D graphics are a little rough for you, it's harder to tell what's going on. You can actually hit F10, and then this will bring up a view that's a little more basic. This is the more advanced version. You can click it off, and it's even less graphics. And you can either run games, like if your computer's maybe lower, you run it this way, or if it's just you feel a little more of a simplistic view, you hit F10. And then after that, that's pretty much all you got.